there, I'm Natalie. I'm a Pittsburgh real estate agent, and I'm just making this video today to share with you some pros and cons of living in Pittsburgh. Here to give you the honest opinion. I have lived here pretty much my whole life, other than I went to college in Northeast Ohio, and I lived in Naples, Florida for about a year out of college. So I know what it's like to move away, move back. I've lived in some different places, obviously, and I think I have a pretty good comparison for Pittsburgh versus other places and can give you a good list of pros and cons for if you're thinking about moving here. And if you are thinking about moving here, I would love to be your real estate agent. You can follow me on my social media, link below. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to represent you. And if you're not moving to Pittsburgh, I would love to find another agent for you. I have connections all over the country. I'd love to connect you with someone to help you wherever you are buying a home. Let's get into it. So I'm gonna start with a pro and then follow it with a con. The first pro I would say about living in Pittsburgh is that lots of people are moving here, which is a good thing because if you're moving here too, you will not have a hard time making new friends. I see people moving here from bigger cities because they want some of the other pros I'm going to mention later, but you will have an easy time making friends here. The first con I would say about living in Pittsburgh is that the infrastructure and the traffic are bad, and I don't think that they've kept up at all with the population growth. I think the city's tried to expand things and improve our road system, but I still think it's lacking. So following up with my pro, lots of people are moving here, and I just don't think the infrastructure and road system really keeps up with that. So the roads are like pretty poorly designed, I would say. There's points where you have to merge super quick to get to your destination, and then that can cause a lot of traffic. And then I think our bridges cause traffic too because everybody's merging into one lane. And there's this one bridge in Pittsburgh everybody makes memes about. It's literally the worst. You have like 4 different places to merge into and you have like 2 seconds to do it. It's just terrible. My next pro about living in Pittsburgh is that we have really good sports. We have the Steelers, we have the Penguins, we have the Pirates, we have the Pitt Panthers. So if you love sports, we are a sports city and our teams are really good. It's really fun and exciting when our teams advance or they win, the whole city kind of gets together. When the Steelers go to the Super Bowl, which they have several times, it's really exciting for the whole city. So if you like sports, we are a great city for sports. We just don't have an NBA team. So my next con about living in Pittsburgh is the weather. You have probably heard about the weather. So I would say there's more gray days here in Pittsburgh than sunny days, and that's pretty annoying. That's something I really don't like about Pittsburgh. I really don't like the weather here. I feel like it rains a lot here. As for the winters, they can get pretty brutal come January, February. But after living in Northeast Ohio for college, I feel like it's not as bad in Pittsburgh as other places that are closer to the lakes where they have to deal with lake effect snow. That's the worst because I remember living in Northeast Ohio, it would snow in October sometimes. It's just the worst. I hate snow, but it's not so bad here, but we just definitely don't have good weather. But then that leads me into my next pro. If you like winter sports and outdoor activities, we have that here. There's great skiing and snowboarding resorts just a few hours of a drive away if you're really into that. So my next con is that the public transportation is not good at all. So we don't have a subway, but we do have the T, which is like a subway, but there's only like, I might be wrong here, but it only goes to like 2 different parts of town. There's not that many stops. I think it's just North Shore and downtown, so it's good for parking for games if you want to park and then take that. But we don't have a subway system that takes you to the different neighborhoods, but it would be so nice if we did because traffic can get so backed up. We do have a public bus system, but it gets so confusing, and I know when traffic's bad, it can make it take longer to get to your destination. We don't use our rivers for transportation like other cities do. Like I know New York City has water taxis and some cities have ferries on their river. We don't have that. I don't know why. I don't know why we don't use our river for transportation. The only time we do use it is there's the Gateway Clipper boat, which is like an old Pittsburgh, there's a few of them. There's a few old big Pittsburgh boats. I know on Steeler games, they'll take you from Station Square to Heinz Field, which is nice. But other than that, I don't understand why we don't use it every single day for people to commute. It just doesn't make sense to me. But we do have the incline, and if you don't know what that is, I'll put a picture here. My next pro about Pittsburgh is one of my favorite things about Pittsburgh, the dining experience. We have such a good food scene here in Pittsburgh. If you want Mongolian grill, we have that. If you want an Argentinian steakhouse, we have that. We have pretty much every food option you could want right here in Pittsburgh. I could honestly make a whole video about my favorite restaurants in Pittsburgh, and I think I'm gonna have to, because we have such a good dining scene. The food is just fantastic here. It's not as expensive as other cities. It's just amazing. I feel like we're constantly getting new restaurants too, so there's always something new to go out and try. But I could just go on and on about the food scene here. It's phenomenal. I have friends from New York that come to visit that grew up in the suburbs here, so a little far from the city, and they never really got to try it growing up, but they come back and they try it and they're like, wow, the food scene is just as good as New York. We have really fancy restaurants. We have a lot of good mom and pop restaurants, just fantastic across the board. We have a lot of unique Pittsburgh foods too. We like to put French fries on our sandwiches. We love pierogies. If you haven't heard of any of that, if you're moving here, I suggest you try it. It's delicious. My next con kind of goes in with the public transportation issue. I don't think our city is very pedestrian or bike friendly at all. We did in recent years get bike lanes installed, but they kind of share the space with the roads, making them a little scary, and I don't see a lot of people using them. I think our weather also makes it hard to walk in bike places. It's not like other cities where it's really organized and you're able to get around. I don't blame people for not wanting to use the bike lanes because they would definitely scare me. My next pro is that we have a great art scene here. So if you go around the city, we have two really big art museums. We have the Carnegie Art Museum and we have the Andy Warhol Museum. So if you like art, this is a great place for it. We have the Benedum where you could go see musicals. I remember I saw the Lion King musical that was traveling across the country as a kid. I saw Phantom of the Opera there. Always some kind of show. So if you love musical theater, I suggest you check out the Benedum. There's a neighborhood called Bloomfield where they do first Friday of the month art walks, where artists will come out, display their art. You can buy art merchandise that the artists make. It's really cool, and it's like the whole neighborhood comes to life just for the arts. There's a great arts and culture scene here in Pittsburgh. So my next con is another one of my least favorite things about Pittsburgh, aside from the weather. We are so far from the ocean. So far from the ocean. I looked one time and the closest ocean you can drive to is Delaware beaches. And it's about, I think, 5.5 hours to get there. It's not like Philly where they just drive across New Jersey. They're at the Jersey Shore. I'm so jealous. All we have is lake beaches. We have no ocean. All our seafood is imported. Yeah, I love the beach. I miss living by the beach, but that's another con. My next pro is that this city is very affordable compared to other cities. I don't know if you know this, but this might make you want to move here. There's no sales tax on clothes in the state of Pennsylvania. It's the best thing ever. When I lived out of state, I would wait to come home to PA to buy my clothes because that can rack up. It's more affordable to buy a home here compared to other cities. The average price of a home right now is about $225,000. I looked that up, and I also looked up the average rent price here in Pittsburgh right now, and that is $1,363. Now the value for what you get owning here versus renting here, you get so much more for your dollar if you own versus rent. But that makes real estate such a great investment in this city, because if you buy, you can make a pretty good profit on rentals here. So there's a lot of people from other cities that come in that I work with. They buy investment properties here. Just a great place to invest, and our housing market is appreciating pretty significantly over the years here, and it has the past few years. This is a great place to own a home on top of the affordability. I've noticed that restaurants, groceries, things like that, they're not as marked up as they are in other cities. But my next con is that if you live in the city, you will pay more taxes on your income, and you're gonna pay more taxes on your property. They're a little more expensive. This could change though, I don't know. if it will, but there's talks of it changing. We do have the Allegheny County homestead tax exemption you can apply for. If you buy your primary residence in Allegheny County, that'll lower your taxes on your property by about $18,000 a year. I suggest you do it. That's a lot of money, but you don't have to live in the city. So my next pro is that we have a lot of universities here. I'm gonna try to name them all. There's Duquesne, Pitt, La Roche, Chatham, Point Park. There's an art institute, CMU. I'm definitely forgetting a couple. Oh my gosh, I'm totally forgetting a few of them, but we have a lot of universities around here. So if you are thinking about going back to school, going to school for the first time, maybe you have kids and they might be going off to college soon, you don't have to go far for an education. We have great universities in the city. I think that's something really unique about us because a lot of other cities don't really have that. You can find pretty much any degree you want in our city. I mean, the colleges are pretty broad. There's some more artistic ones. There's some more tech-based ones, some more medical field ones. This is a great city if education is important to you. My next con is that our airport airline system is not as great as other cities. Odds are when you fly somewhere, you're gonna have a layover in a bigger city. When I was a kid, you could fly direct to Florida, no problem, but now you have to have a layover. There's not very many cities that you can fly direct to. It's not like Boston, New York, Atlanta, LA, where you can just catch a plane and leave the country. No, you're gonna have a layover. So maybe not a big deal to some people, but it is a little bit annoying if you like to travel or if you're gonna be visiting family in other states, other countries. That gets a little bit annoying. There are some places we do fly direct to. This could change. So don't 100% quote me on this, but I've taken direct flights to Charleston. You can get a direct to a major city. You can fly direct to London, which is pretty different. They used to do directs to Iceland. I don't know if they're still doing that, but I do know people that ever since they've done the direct flights to London, they've flown to London and then taken the train to Paris, or they've been able to catch a flight out of London to other countries in Europe. So that's pretty neat. Overall, I think Pittsburgh's a pretty great city to live. We are very fortunate here. We have a lot to do. We have a lot of cool stuff constantly being built. There's a lot of development going on. No city is ever gonna be perfect. I know that. There were things I hated about Northeast Ohio, and there were things I hated about Naples. But there were things I loved about both that we don't have here. So I hope this video helps you decide if you are someone that's on the fence about moving here, or you're gonna be moving here and you're just curious what it's like. I hope this video helps you. Again, if you're looking for a real estate agent in the area, I would love to work with you and represent you. And if you're looking for a real estate agent in any other city, I would love to send you someone from my referral network. Please subscribe to my channel if you want more content like this and more real estate content. I love making videos like this, and talk to you soon.